Here you go!
Optic blast!
X-Men versus Street Fighter!
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Izzy's Retro Video Game Reviews. And on this episode, I'm going to be talking about X-Men versus Street Fighter. So, let's get into it, man. So the history of it, the X-Men versus Street Fighter, it starts in 1996. So it came out for arcades in 1996. Then it was ported over to the Sega Saturn in 1997, and finally it made its way over to PlayStation 1 in 1998. So I remember playing it in arcades first. I wasn't very good at it. I would always lose on the first level. Which was usually Dhalsim and some other fighter, but I really got into it and picked it up and learned how to play it when I played it on PlayStation in 1998. I don't own a copy of it, which I regret very, very, very much to this day, man, because it's one of my favorites. And I should mention that this is the first installment in the Versus series. So you had X-Men versus Street Fighter, you had Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, and of course Marvel versus Capcom, Marvel versus Capcom 2, 3, Capcom versus SNK. So this is the very, very first iteration of the Versus series. This was preceded. This was followed. This was the successor to, there we go, that's what I was looking for. The successor to Marvel Superheroes and X-Men Children of the Atom, which are two other great fighting games, and I will cover those in future episodes of Izzy's retro video game reviews. But for right now, back to X-Men vs. Street Fighter. So my fondest memories of it, besides playing it very, very mediocrely for the arcade, are playing it on the original PlayStation in '98. I remember renting it from Blockbuster, and just enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, that intro where you have all the characters from X-Men versus Street Fighter facing off. You have a Gambit facing and Bison and all this and all that and everything. And at the end, it ends with that. The intro ends with that iconic image of Ryu and Cyclops shaking hands, kind of the leaders and the the faces of their respective franchises. Cyclops, leader of the X-Men, and Ryu, the main face of Street Fighter. But that's not all that's in there, man. I mean, you have Cammy, you have Dhalsim, you have all the major Street Fighter players in there. Ken, Charlie, Akuma's in there. And then if you beat the game without losing a round, and I think like 2 perfects in a row, after you face the main boss, which is Apocalypse, you get to face Cyber Akuma, and you unlock him if you defeat Cyber Akuma after you face Apocalypse, which was kind of a sucky experience for me, because he kept destroying me with that wrecking ball, and then his hand would turn into different things like a wrecking ball, a drill, and all that stuff. And I was, like I said, I wasn't very good at it at first, so I just let him like destroy me. And I'm like, and my brother Gus came along, who was like who was like a really good fighting game player. He used to face off against all our buddies in the arcades, and kind of hold his own against them. And so he came along and he told me like, "Yo, dude, you gotta just block." And I'm like, "Yo, all right, so how do you block?" And then he's like, "No, just press back on the directional pad." So I did, and then blocking and learning super moves and all that stuff, and I was eventually able to beat him on my own. So thanks to my brother Gus for teaching me how to block in a fighting game. I know it may sound stupid, but that was a big thing for me. Apocalypse is one of my favorite Marvel villains, man. He's just so cool. And then what do you call it? The team that I used to always use was the very team that I just mentioned a few seconds ago, Ryu and Cyclops, because Ryu was powerful, and then Cyclops, he had his optic blast, which came in handy when trying to overcome opponents, such as when you had to face Chun-Li and Rogue, which I know was another annoying team. And then I think Magneto and Bison were a team too. So yeah, that was definitely good times, man. And then I remember I got to play it again maybe a year or two ago, because my homegirl Sasha, she's a huge fighting game enthusiast, and she had a copy of it on PlayStation 1, and she bought over her PS3, which was able to play PS1 games, and we just went at it for hours, man. She's good. She destroyed me, actually. I thought I was pretty good at fighting games, and I kind of had a strategy for fighting games, but she absolutely destroyed me, man. She gave me all the smoke, but you know what? It was all love, it was all fun, and definitely look forward to a rematch sometime in the future, girl. If you up for it, let's do it. But anyway, man, so those are my memories of X-Men versus Street Fighter. And like I said, later on, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom, with both of which I'm very fond of. I've already covered Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the channel, and all that good stuff. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put it at the end of this video so you guys can watch it. But man, that is gonna do it for this episode of Izzy Reacts. Like, subscribe. I mean, not Izzy Reacts. Izzy's retro video game reviews. Jeez. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace. Oh, I forgot to say we're gonna throw some gameplay, but.
I am the Apocalypse! Ready! Fight! Good! Game is over!
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
You got food!
Let's go! barrage. Tornado claw.
Fools! Game! Your life!
Protected barrage. Let's go.
Wolverine! Win!
Rookie.